With us this morning is Dr. William J. Parker, and he's the CEO of the Parker Maritime Technologies, a Navy officer for 30 years, and the former CEO and president of the East-West Institute, and a real Navy man. And I'd like to get an update, what's going on in the Navy. So many people are saying that China is surpassing us at a record rate. They're up to over 400 ships. We're down below 300. A 30-year Navy man, what say you?
John, first of all, as always, it's good to be back on your show. You know, you and I talked on the first show after President Biden was elected as president, and we both said he was going to be tested like no other. And we prayed he would be successful for the sake of our country, but doesn't look like that's what's happening right now. But we can get in that. I tell you, the Navy's got some major issues right now, and the country has some major issues. But first, if I could, I'd just like to kind of do a snapshot of the world, if that's okay with you.
Please do.
So, we look at Iraq, and right now there's more than a dozen Iraqi political parties that have direct ties to the Iranians. So disaster for us in many ways. Afghanistan, we left in a most shameless way and left billions of dollars in equipment and countless people there. Nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody talks about the Marines we lost or the Afghanis that are falling from airplanes or the fact that the Taliban drove our trucks through the streets and used our weapons to include our aircraft. The Iran Houthi rebels, I mean, who ever heard the Houthis before the last couple of years? Now, yesterday, they shot down another MQ-9 Reaper of the United States, and they've attacked over 50 times. To include U.S. Navy ships, killed a couple of our people. But we're not even really talking about that right now. Israel, our very close ally, was attacked by the Iran Hamas and killing thousands and capturing more. And the U.S. seems to be scratching its head on what we want to do next. And then there's Ukraine. You know, the U.S. watched
while we're on that subject, and the Suez Canal and the Red Sea are still closed because our commander-in-chief has not used its Navy and the Air Force to wipe out the Houthis that they can do in 3 days.
John, you're absolutely right. And so the price of oil goes up. Not only does the price of oil goes up, the price of everything that goes by these ships goes up because you're burning more fuel to go around. You got to go around the canal. And meanwhile, the water's lower in the Panama Canal, so people often are going around that as well. So you're absolutely right. And then there's Ukraine. You know, we watched as Crimea was taken by the Russians when Biden was vice president and Obama was president, and the U.S. failed to deter. And now we've spent $175 billion in rising, and Ukraine, backed by China. Russia, backed by China, is really doing some serious damage to the Ukrainian people. And if we lose that, you remember the Budapest Agreement, we said that we would protect Ukraine, and Russia said they would protect Ukraine if they would give away their nuclear weapons. They did that, but here we are today. So then let's talk about China, if that's okay with you.
Please.
Okay.
It looks like China, Russia, and Iran are forming the new evil empire.
John, I think China, Russia, and Iran already have formed an evil empire. And when you look at the fact that they held exercises just off the coast of Alaska this year, that should be an indicator right there. They came over with their fleets, multiple ships, and did an exercise right off our coast. And are we talking about that? Well, you do, and that's about it. China, bottom line up front. The Chinese have a bigger Navy than us now. You mentioned that at the beginning. Shipbuilding capacity, they're at 232 times that of the United States. And that number actually may be more now. So despite the fact that 90% of all the world's goods move by sea, the government and investors, et cetera, are looking at spending money on things other than shipbuilding technology and that, and it's biting us in the rear end. And it's going to continue to get worse if we don't do something about it. The founding fathers said, hey, you have to maintain a Navy and have the capability to raise an army, but you have to maintain a Navy by law. They understood the significance of this, and we are losing the Navy fight right now. because the Chinese can outbuild us 232-1. And when you look at the fact of why we won World War II, an awful lot of it was because we had those capacities in place, and we don't have them today.
It's very, very sad what's going on. And, the United States is under attack. Its borders, the drugs, our universities. I think Washington, there's a lot of dark money going around, a lot of foreign money going around. As far as the United States abroad, I was in Europe for 5 days, and I said to them, if the United States is not there to protect Europe, Europe is gone. And I don't know how easier I can say plain language.
You were spot on that. You were spot on the fact that there will be a mass exodus out of New York if we continue in the way we're working in that particular state now. And we are absolutely getting crushed by the Chinese on building. They went from 0 carriers a few years ago. Now they have 2, and they have the capacity to build 3 more pretty quickly. They're building more ships than we are now. They have a larger military than we do now. Their air power is catching up to ours technology wise. Tanks. We have 4,600. They have 5,000. Mobile rocket launchers. They have 3,000. We have 600. It's going bad. Submarines. We have 64. They have 61. So we have a real problem if we don't get our shipbuilding and our stuff in general in order here very quickly and stop focusing on distractions. And that's what we're focusing on is distractions as a country as opposed to what's actually going on. Nobody's talking about the fact that Lloyd Austin is talking to his counterpart in Singapore, but he's talking to the Chinese counterpart. And the Chinese are saying, Taiwan's ours. It's an internal issue. How are we responding to that? These are all major issues that should be the key points of the next election. They should also be the key points of what we're talking about in the media right now. So I really appreciate shows like yours that actually hit these important issues.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your service to the Navy. Thank you for your service to the East-West Institute and speaking out and what's right and wrong in the world. And I hope your newest venture, how is it going? Is it going well?
It's going well. We're building. Things are going well. Lots of folks interested in our technology. We're focused on U.S. companies for obvious reasons and U.S. investors and have said no to others for that very reason. And I think things are going really well.
Well, thank you, Dr. William J. Parker. Thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you again real soon.
Thank you very much.